I'm Glenn Shaw, owner of Shaw Homes in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Started the company in 1985. At that time, it was one employee doing everything, me. I met Aaron Antis in 2007. The top three things that Aaron did for Shaw Homes was he brought in processes that helped us be able to repeat over and over. He brought in unique hiring skills. He was able to find the right people for the right seat on the bus. And Aaron brought sales techniques that we weren't familiar with up until that time. When Aaron came, we were selling about 80, 85 houses a year. And during the 16-year period, we saw sales get up over 400. Before I met Aaron, the only sales manager we had was myself, and I was completely unable to perform that job. And so Aaron brought major changes and great results with them. In the many years that I was building houses before Aaron, I was great at selling if somebody wanted to buy, but they had to be knocking on my door asking me to sell them a house before I could actually make that sell. I had no sales techniques and no ability to generate sales. Aaron coming in as a natural salesperson just absolutely transformed that and made the sales experience better for the company and better for our buyers. Well, prior to Aaron, I would work all week for the company. I'd sit in a model home over the weekend, and I had a salesperson or two, but I was actually out there all weekend working that. Since hiring Aaron, I was able to take my weekends off, even reduce my workload during the week. I went from working 60, 70 hours a week to almost a normal workload. So I've been a member of the Builder 20 program in the National Association of Home Builders for 25 years, 20 years. And during that time, I've seen a lot of sales managers with the other companies that have been involved. And in my opinion, Aaron is smarter and sharper than any sales manager of any builder that's ever been in our group. Now, some markets, they don't have to try to sell, they just sell themselves. But with the ability to sell and to train and hire, Aaron was better than any of those sales managers that were in my program. Well, I remember when I considered hiring Aaron many years ago, the thought of spending the extra money was a little scary, but in hindsight, it was one of the best things I've ever done. It freed my time, increased our sales, and at the end of the day, increased our profitability beyond my wildest expectations. Years ago, I was concerned that if I didn't do whatever a customer asked me to do, it might be the last house I sold. And so over time, we were able to move away from unlimited customization to pre-designed options. The problem that we were having in those days is that the customer would tell us what they wanted, but they didn't really know what they wanted. And we would deliver exactly what they told us to do, and they wouldn't be happy with it. So as we became more standardized, we give lots of options, but we don't customize. And in the end, that allows us to sell more homes for better margins than spending countless hours trying to customize in just every avenue of the sales process. We get weekly reports on sales, on profitability, on production, and it provides all the manageable tools that I need to review the company from a 10,000 foot level.
All right, Thrive Nation, on today's show, what we're going to focus on is how to grow a successful company. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a graphic that is the theory of how to grow a successful company, but vision without execution is hallucination. And so if you go to thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire, you can download a book that I have written called A Millionaire's Guide, How to Become Sustainably Rich. You can download it for free at thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire, but you have to actually implement that which is in the book. And so on today's show, we're joined by a very successful person in the home building business, a great friend of mine, a man by the name of Aaron Antis. Aaron Antis, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Clay. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, so I got to ask you this for people out there that want to prove you're not a hologram. First off, what's the website for your company so people can verify that you are, in fact, a real business?
You bet. It's shawhomes.com. SHAWHOMES.com. Shawhomes.com.
I'm pulling it up, shawhomes.com. Pulling it up. That's the website, shawhomes.com.
Yep.
And when you and I met, before we met, you had been already very successful as a home builder. You turned your dream of being a home builder guy into reality.
Yeah.
So how many homes had you sold, or what kind of sales had you done in your career as a home builder guy before you and I even met?
Before we met, probably about 750 million in sales prior to meeting you.
And then you did the year we first started working together. What were the sales totals that year?
We were at like 19 million.
19 million. And then when you ended 2022, obviously we're in 2023, and so we'll see how this year ends. But as far as ending 2022, how much sales did you do last year at the end of 2022?
2022, we were at like 84 million.
Okay, so from 19 million to
84 million.
84 million. So you're doing some things right here. And what we're going to try to do is kind of demystify the plan here. Okay, so here we go. So establishing revenue goals.
Yep.
When you and I first started working together, we started off with a 13-point assessment. We went over your goals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to ask you to share your goals on the air, but why is it important that you have goals?
Well, I mean, goals are sort of your guideposts that, you set something out there in front of you and you start chasing after it. And without that, you're just kind of floundering in mediocrity. You don't have any reason to get up in the morning and really get after it. And so, I think goals are, you can have lots of different types of goals. And we've talked about a lot of this. We've talked about, having financial goals and having, fitness goals and having friendship goals and just all these different areas. I know you've got the F6, so that's kind of something that, we touched on very early on. You asked me, like, is one of your goals more income or is it more time? And so I said, well, really, at this point, it's more income. And then later it became more time. So, it's changed over the time I've known you since 2016. We're going on 7 years and the income went up considerably. So now it's, turned in the last couple of years towards more time.
Now, the break-even numbers, again, I'm not asking you for the numbers on the show, but you guys have a lot of fixed costs. I mean, if you go to shawhomes.com, you've got framers, you have plumbers, you have tile people, you have so many skilled people, you have a full-time sales team, you have an admin staff. And if you don't sell a house, you still have the service of the land, you still have all the overhead. Why is it important for every listener out there to know their break-even point? How many deals they need per month just to break even?
Well, yeah, because you're going backwards real quick, and it doesn't take very long if you're at the beginning of your business. It doesn't take very long for you to be in a place where, the creditors are knocking at your door and you're, you can't pay your bills, and all of a sudden you're going to lose all for us, all of our trades, all of our suppliers are going to start backing out. So, you've got to know what that number is that lets you tread water so that, okay, this is the worst case scenario. Everything above that, at least I'm into the profit zone. So, you go out of business pretty quick. Most businesses don't last more than just a few months if they get below that break-even number. So
now, folks, again, these might seem like simple steps, but they're all the linear steps you have to take to create time freedom and financial freedom. And if you want to grow your company, this is how you do it. Box number 3, though, is you have to know the hours you're willing to work. Now, your incredible wife is here off camera for accountability. So at any point, she could yell like, "Amen" or "Boo." But you guys are on the same page with the hours you're willing to work. And you guys, as a couple, I want to brag on both of you. You guys both committed to sacrificing time and energy and a lot of things to get to where you're at in life.
Yeah.
And then as you had your children, you raised them, you decided to devote time to raising said kids. And now that your kids are older, you're devoting time to raising these kids. So it's not like you abdicated being a parent while also growing a company. You did both well. I'd love to get your thoughts on sitting down with your spouse, if you're watching this today, or your significant other, and making sure you're on the same page about how many hours per week you're willing to work.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't want to grow a business to, make a whole bunch of money just so you can split it in half later.
Oh,
because that's kind of what happens when you don't work out those details ahead of time. And so my wife and I have been married 25 years. We've been together for 4 before that. And so yeah, 26. Did I just say 25?
But real quick, just I hate to do this to you.
I just got in trouble.
I hate this. Your wife just turned 27 on Thursday, and what you said is 100% false. Okay, so the unique value proposition here. Now let's talk about this. Whether it's growing a home building company, or a dog training business, or a haircut chain, or a carpet cleaning franchise, or whatever business we're involved in helping to grow, you have to sit down as a listener out there, as a business owner. You got to figure out what makes your company unique.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask you, what makes Shaw Homes unique in the marketplace with other home builders?
Yeah, we have more furnished and decorated model homes than any other builder in the market. So, a lot of times people, when they walk into a home and they're trying to decide if they like the floor plan, the layout, whatever, most builders in our market have an empty house that they walk into. It's just kind of echoes when you walk through it. There's no furniture or anything. And we completely, as you can see in this little video here, we completely furnish and decorate it, make it beautiful. We are the most award-winning builder in the state of Oklahoma.
That's true.
We've won like 5 times as many awards as any other builder in the market. So definitely that is one of our big, takeaways.
And I'm going to throw you under the bus real quick, and I don't mean to do this super passively aggressively. It'll just be more of a subtle passive aggressive. When I met you, you guys had all these awards, but no one knew.
That's true.
It was like this weird, bizarre thing where you had all these awards. I remember talking to you, and I'm like, what makes you guys different? And you're like, we do a good job. And you're being nice about it. You're a good salesperson. But I said, well, tell me about the awards. And you're like, well, we got this award, that award.
This is true.
This award, like 45 minutes later, it's like that award. This award, I need to shave now. This award, that award, I need to go brush my teeth. This award, that award, I want to go mow the lawn now. This award, that award, I'm thinking about retiring. This award, my kids are turning 18. I can see it. This award, you're just going, and this award, and that award. And so we put those on the website, and that helped. And the other thing you guys we needed to change was all these people were saying great things, but we didn't have video reviews of them saying it on camera.
Right.
So it was like your online reputation didn't match your real world reputation. You had so much good momentum there, and so many people loved you guys. And now you guys have, would you say, 100 video reviews?
Oh gosh, I would say more than that. We've got, we have a lot.
And every week
you could just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
I was scrolling.
And this is actually all that's on this page. If you go to our YouTube channel, we have way more than this. So yeah.
So again, and this is all the stuff. You're going to grow a successful company, folks. Step 1, you got to figure out your revenue goals. Step 2, you got to figure out your break-even goals. Step 3, sit down for an hour of power. Sit down with your spouse. Make sure that you guys are on the same page of your hours you're willing to work. Step 4, unique value proposition. Figure out what it is that makes you unique. And we have an in-depth guide that you can download for free at thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire if you get stuck. Next box, you got to improve your branding, your website, your one sheet, in your case, model home presentations, business cards, social media branding. Everything that a customer sees needs to be first class. And I was talking to a guy named Ronnie Morales today, and it's Morales Brothers. I think you met him at a conference. He told me this, and I'm not slamming Ronnie. Ronnie, if you're listening, I'm not slamming you. This is the real thing. Ronnie said he listened to our show for 7 consecutive years before ever reaching out. And now he's reached out and he's up 57% in about 8 months.
That's awesome.
And we're going to put his story on part 2 of today's show because he's in Texas and he's 7 years behind you.
Yeah.
But he's doing a great job.
What
do you think that thing is where people have bad branding and they are not, we're not aware of it? Is it someone hasn't brought it to our attention? What causes bad branding?
The number one thing I hear business owners say is, well, I don't really need good branding because I sell everything by word of mouth.
Oh yeah, baby.
Like I've got such an incredible reputation.
You do.
That everybody just comes to me by word of mouth.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, yeah, but how much business did you do last year? Well, not very much. And, I'm really unprofitable, but I've got great, reputation out there and I get a lot of word of mouth. So when people switch over to starting to improve branding, I know you helped us a lot with that in just creating a lot better looking website, creating a, we've got an office environment now that is, when people walk into our model home, they are blown away. We truly wow our customers when they come to our model homes.
Yep.
It's a one-of-a-kind experience in the state of Oklahoma. And the process of that, just going through branding it so that it looks really top notch. And, that includes everything from, marketing to all of your senses and everything else. So it just really brought us to another level. And when the customer comes in and experiences us after having walked through other builders' homes, they usually come in and go, you guys are just on a whole nother level.
It's sights, sounds, smells, experiences, everything that your customer sees, they're grading you on. And you might not know that they are even judging you because they're not filling out the form. And I have a funny story to share with you that's kind of sad. I was working with a fitness guy years ago, and I'm not going to tell you what state he's in or what city, folks. But I know you want to know, but I'm not going to tell you. And he filled out the form because his wife wanted him to schedule a 13-point assessment. He did not want to.
Yep.
And he tells me, Clay, honestly, I'm just doing the call because my wife wants me on the phone. I don't get leads from social media. I don't get leads from marketing. I get all my leads word of mouth, like you were saying. And I said, well, let me just do this. Let's just, this first month working together, let me get all the passwords for your Facebook, your Google, your YouTube. And as the first month, we do this with every single client. Yeah. We optimize your YouTube, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, all that.
Yep.
We log on. This is a fitness guy. He was spending like $400 a week every week on ads.
Yeah.
And he wasn't aware that every time a lead came in, it got stuck in Facebook and went to an email address that he wasn't checking.
Whoa.
So think about this.
That's not good.
And it's like 15 to 20 leads a week for years this guy had.
That's not good.
And he didn't even, and so I'm going, you're spending, $20,000 a year on ads that you're not getting anything from. And are you aware that the phone number on your site rings to a phone that's no longer a real phone? And I'm serious. This was real. And then he had before and after photos where somebody had the idea of let's get before and after photos, where you interview someone before they start working out.
Yeah.
But then they never completed the thought. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Where it's like they interview them about getting in shape.
Yeah.
But then they never actually aired the part where they're in shape.
Oh, no.
So it's just sort of like an interview with people that are not in shape. And I'm like, and again, he's busy guy, busy entrepreneur. That kind of stuff is very common. It's kind of laughable if it's not your company.
Yeah.
But okay, next box. You got to determine your customer acquisition costs. How much does it cost you to get a customer? So Aaron, you guys run ads on Google, on Facebook, on retargeting ads. You have massive signage. There's a lot of stuff you do.
Yep.
Why is it important to know how much it costs you at the end of the day to get an actual new buyer of a Shaw home?
Well, because if you want more of those, you know what it costs to go generate more of those. And it's a cost where it's like, okay, well, I'm down in sales this month or this quarter or whatever, and I need 4 more sales to make it a good quarter here before the end of the quarter. And it's like, I know I can go put money into that and it's going to cost me X number of dollars per customer to get there. And so then it's just a matter of, do I want to spend that money to get to that point? So, for us, it's, a pretty high number because it's a big ticket item, but for some people it might be, very small to get that, each customer. But for us, it's, you got to know what the number is, because ultimately that goes into the price of your product, and whatever you sell, we're doing homes. That is one of our line item costs in our homes.
That's what costs.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to any of the businesses that I'm involved in, you go to eitrlounge.com/staff. I put in the password here. Once I put in the password, I have all of the documents needed to run the company, and they're all saved. So the checklist for the manager, the opening checklist for the assistant manager, the bathroom cleaning checklist, everything needed to grow the company is all in one place. And therefore, the business, everybody who works there knows where to go to find those documents. This is the kind of stuff that fires me up and it makes other people crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So with the conferences we do, if we ever do a conference that's out of town, I have a checklist of stuff I print out. I know it seems kind of crazy for people, but this is real. I print it out and it's like, okay, socks. If I'm gone for 4 days, I want to have 12 pairs of socks. Why? Because it could be hot. I don't know. Could get wet. I don't know. I have a list of, deodorant and socks and shaving, and I have a laptop and a backup laptop, and I have patch cables and XLR cables, and we bring 3. You've seen all this stuff, but it's multiple monitors, backup monitors. It's backups for everything. When you guys build a Shaw home, you're not moving off of guesswork. There's blueprints, there's plans, there's systems, so houses don't fall down. There's somebody out here listening right now that doesn't have systems in place. They don't have checklists.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have it, and so they have to think about everything all the time, because if not, they forget a step.
Yeah.
What would you say is the importance of having taken the time to have built these systems now?
It is the night and day difference between running around like your hair is on fire every day, constantly playing firefighter, or, you hear people say, oh, I'm up to my armpits in alligators, It's because you don't have systems and processes. And every time at Shaw Homes, every time that we have a problem come up, we automatically go, okay, what step in our system did this fall apart in?
Yep.
And what's broken in that step, and how can we fix it so it never happens again? So we go fix the process. We address the problem for the customer, but then we go back after that and we go, how do we fix the process so we don't repeat this problem? And the business owners that are running around with their hair on fire all the time, it's because there's no systems, no processes. Everything is urgent. Everything is hair on fire.
Correct.
And it is a chaos world that you live in. And if you're going to build homes for a living and build a lot of them, you cannot live in that chaos world.
Now, this next box, I get excited about all these boxes. This is what I get excited about. This right here is what I care about. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The next box is management and execution. You have people on your team, and I'm just going to give some examples, and I hope this benefits somebody out there listening. You have people on your team. It's their responsibility every time that you do a new house. They go out there and they design, or they get the blueprint on the website.
Yep.
They get the new design of the home, because people want to see floor plans.
Yep.
So somebody's job is to get those up there.
Yes.
Somebody gets photos of every house that you guys are building.
Yeah.
Somebody gets videos of every house. Somebody puts them all up for sale. Somebody answers the phone every day.
Yes.
Somebody calls the leads every day.
Every day.
Somebody cleans the bathroom every day. Somebody builds the houses every day. Now, this is what I find, and I'm sure none of our listeners can relate to this. Some of our listeners fire people and then nothing happens. So work with me on this. There's listeners out there that I talk to them every day, because we do free 13-point assessments. So I talk to 2 or 3 people a day who go to thrivetimeshow.com. They want to schedule a consultation. And the other day you heard me talking to Jordan. I said, Jordan, go ahead and keep setting those, because we set an appointment with someone who's definitely not a good fit.
Yep.
And you could tell he had a little, question if that was okay. And I said, I would rather you set an appointment with somebody than not, because I don't know if who's a good fit or not,
Yeah.
But the idea, though, is I sit down. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was like, the reason why my team did not get Google reviews or reviews this week is because we fired a guy. And I go, because I'm just asking him, where are we stuck? What's your biggest limiting factor? I have a big process I go through in my evaluation.
Yep.
And I said, who calls the leads? He's like, well, normally I have a person that calls the leads, but we just fired her. And I mean this, and I'm going, how long have you been in business? This guy's been in business for over 10 years, and he's reaching out for help. Good person. We're trying to help him. I think it's going to be a good fit. But so I said, so basically everybody follows the systems until they don't work there anymore. And then no one does the systems. And you go back and forth vacillating from things being done to not being done. And one of my favorite things about working with you guys is that you're honest people. What does that mean? You do your best to do what you say you're going to do. And you hold yourself and the employees accountable.
Absolutely.
But what would happen if every week if somebody wasn't performing, you removed them from the position, and then the houses weren't built for the week because something wasn't going well, or because maybe a salesperson wasn't performing at the peak, you let them go, and the next thing you know, what would happen if you managed your company that way?
It would be a disaster. I mean, I can't just fire my superintendent without having somebody already ready to take over all of those responsibilities, because I've got materials showing up at the job site today, tomorrow, and the next day. I've got trades showing up who need some supervision, need to know what they're supposed to be doing. If I fire that guy with no warning, somebody else has to come fill in that position. So, for us, we try to never have that gap happen. And, sometimes it's like, that you're going to need to fire somebody and you can see the writing on the wall.
Right.
But you want to get the next person up and ready to go before that happens.
And you guys have a weekly meeting. So we talk a lot on this show from an employer perspective, but how frustrating would it be to be an A-player employee and you're working for a C-player boss? A boss that doesn't have a staff meeting, that's not organized, that doesn't pay people on time, that's constantly emotional. I see that a lot. And so management is a learned skill.
Yes,
and thankfully, when I first met with you, you'd already really mastered, in my opinion, managing people. But this next box is where I thought we needed some help, was to build a system for constantly recruiting new people, because certain people work for Shaw Homes for 3 years or 4 years, and then they want to go move, they want to have a baby, they want to stay home, they want to get a new job. And even though you have low turnover at Shaw, certain people get to their expiration date and it's time for them to move on to something else. And because we didn't have a process in place at Shaw at that time to consistently bring in a pipeline of new people, it made it difficult to do the management that was needed. Can you talk about the importance of implementing a human resources program for hiring, inspiring, training, and retaining good people?
It's huge. I mean, that was definitely an Achilles heel for us. And you helped us a lot with that. Putting in where every single week I'm seeing, potential candidates that could come work for us, and they're job shadowing and seeing what it's like to work in our company every single week. It does multiple things. It helps the people who work there to know, hey, there's other people who desire to come work here.
There we go.
And, if I'm not doing my job, I might get replaced. So there's a little bit of that. And then it's also a thing of, the people who are shadowing get to see the job being done by people who are happy doing their job. And it helps them to want to come be a part of Shaw Homes. I've got a very long list of people right now in every single position that would be excited to come work for us if I did all of a sudden find myself with an opening, because occasionally people leave with no notice or whatever, something happens, family emergency, whatever.
Right.
And you have that, I need to replace somebody immediately. And the great thing about it is I have a whole bunch of people that I could plug into that position very quickly, because every single week I am interviewing.
Now, the next box here is you got to do your accounting, and in order to earn millions, you have to automate your accounting. What does that mean? You have to have a system in place for making sure you price your products and services correctly, and that you pay yourself first, that you set aside a set amount of money to pay yourself and your staff. And all these things work together. And what I find is people ask me, often just not knowing, they come from a place of a good heart, they don't know. They say to me, Clay, what is the most important step in growing Shaw Homes? I've heard Aaron on the show. He's a great guy. Clay, I've heard PMH OKC on the show. Clay, I've seen OxyFresh on the show. What was the most important thing they did? And to me, that's like asking a hiker, what was the most important step you took to get to the top of that mountain? Well, it was the one we took there an hour ago. I took a left step. No, it's like asking a baker, what's the most important ingredient? Is it milk? Is it sugar? Is it eggs? Is it, it's like asking a farmer, what's the most important thing, feeding the animals or watering them? What's the key to your success? There's just certain questions that I understand people want to know, but all of this has to work together, and nothing works unless you do. So I have 3 final questions for you. For anybody out there that's thinking about scheduling a consultation, a free consultation with thrivetimeshow.com and myself, obviously they're stuck with me if they fill out the form. I'm the only person that does 13-point assessments.
Right.
I believe I've seen it since 2005. We help people decrease their costs, increase their time freedom and profits. What would you say is the benefit of scheduling that 13-point assessment?
Well, actually, the 13-point assessment was very eye-opening for me. You asked me a lot of tough questions that I probably should have been asking myself and wasn't. And so as we went through the questions, I was like, I think at every question you asked me, I was like, oh, that's a good question. I was like, hang on, let me think about that for a minute. So I find that it kind of helps open your eyes to, these are some things that I know I have some areas of weakness. And then there were, I think, a couple of the questions where I was like, oh, I know the answer to this one. I got this one, no problem. But it helps you sort of identify. I walked away having identified areas of strength and areas of weakness, even though that really wasn't the purpose of the phone call necessarily. It helped me to see that. And then I was like, I think I have a need in a couple of these areas, and I didn't really know what to do for myself. I didn't have the answers.
In part 3 of today's show, part 2, we're going to show the Ronnie Morales story. On part 3, we're going to do a testimony with Myron. And Myron just bought his first Lamborghini today, and he's super fired up. And so Myron's about 6 years down the path. We've been working with you for about 8 years, whereas Ronnie's been with us for less than a year. And it's at a certain point that we have to take action. Knowledge without application is meaningless. What would you say to somebody who's like, it's $1,700 a month. And, I'm spending that much right now on random ads and that much money on random regrettable purchases at the gas station. And, a lot of iTunes I'm downloading. I'm spending $1,700 a month on various things. And I don't know if I can afford it because I've just bought another vehicle that I can't afford, but I'm leasing it. What would you say to anybody who's kind of on that fence?
I would say you need to do it. It has been a game changer for us. I don't know why you would sit there and think $1,700 a month is too much money to spend. Go find the money somewhere. Go empty out your sofa cushions. Go sell the stuff that you have in your house that you're not using. Go get, whatever you need to do to get to that place. You need to find that $1,700. And I will say this, that cost was very quickly replaced with the extra money we were making. And I've actually seen, because I've been around you for a long time, I've seen a lot of your clients come in and right off the bat, they're real nervous about, am I going to be able to, because maybe they're a smaller company or whatever. Right. And they're like, I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to handle this $1,700 a month. And then I see them 6 months later and I'm like, how's it going now? And they're like, man, we're just hitting record after record. I have referred several business owners
and they're doing great,
that are killing it. And that, I'll give one example. I won't name the person, but I did send one of my very good friends to you who was on the verge of losing his business because he just wasn't able. He had bought another one of the shops of what he does. Yep. He opened it and it was not profitable and it was going to take under both of his shops. And I sent him over to you. And I remember about 3 months later, I asked him, how's it going? And he goes, man, we just had a record-breaking month. This was amazing.
And by the way, said person just hit another record-breaking month, just so you know.
Yeah. And I know right now, not only does he have way more income, but he has a lot more time freedom because he's been working with you for many years now. And so it changed his life, just like it changed my life. I would say, if you're thinking about, doing a 13-point assessment, stop thinking, dial the phone, pause this video, make the phone call, reach out to Clay, get it started right now.
Now, final question I have is, I think people look at oxyfresh.com and they go, man, there's 500 locations now.
Yeah.
They look at Elephant in the Room and they go, there's 5 brick and mortar locations now. They look at Shaw Homes and they go, these are big success stories.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can do it. What would you say to somebody out there that just feels like they might not have all this stuff they're going to learn is going to be over their head, too complicated? What would you say?
I would say the information, the ideas are easy. It's the application that is difficult for people. The ideas that you share, there's nothing that's like, oh my God, I don't have a PhD, therefore I can't do it. I feel like it's all very, very simple stuff, but it is a lot of action to get traction. And you got to get the action going. And I think if somebody has diligence and discipline or can learn diligence or discipline, they're going to do extremely well. And it's not about education. It's about action.
Now, Aaron, I got one thing I want to say, and then we'll kind of wrap up today's show, okay, with a boom, because boom stands for big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum. And that's what's required to have success. People watching this, they're going, wow, Aaron, he looks like a normal guy. Well, that's true. They say, well, he sounds like a normal guy. Sounds like an all right guy. That's true. But the one thing you can't quite picture on the show, and I want to just give that gift to you folks who are watching, is Aaron smells tremendous. It's like if you had smell-o-vision, if you could just get up there and just smell that, it's incredible. And it's really, it's his aroma that allows him to achieve massive success. So if you're out there and you're going, what's the secret sauce? It's not a sauce. It's more of just a smell. So I don't know if you qualify to have the kind of success he has unless you smell like he smells. It's a really tremendous smell. Okay, let's end this thing with a boom. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Well, Thrive Nation, we have an opportunity all the time.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown 5 times. I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees. And now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrivetime, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. So I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new. And I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement how to help you guys implement the SEO, and the coaching is just great because there's accountability, and it's just a fantastic way to grow your company. Having a relationship with Thrivetime it's just been amazing for MultiClean. Oh my goodness, it frees me up because then I don't have to take a class on search engine optimization or learn marketing or shoot video. That's not what we do. What we do is commercial janitorial service. And you guys are the experts on marketing, and you teach me and hold my hand and show me how to do it right. And therefore, now my company is much, much larger.
Folks, on today's show, we're joined by a real client. He may look like a male model. He may look like a hologram, but he's a real person. He's a longtime client. He's a man that we consider to be a friend of the Thrivetime Show and a friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Kevin. Welcome onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
Clay, I'm doing great. Had a great Christmas holiday, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so first question, can you tell us what is your name, first and last name, and what's the name of your company, sir?
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas.
And how long have we worked with you approximately at this point, sir?
It's been about 6-7 years.
And, so many people reach out to me. I mean, literally every day. I just talked to a woman this morning. We get 10 to 20 people a day that reach out wanting to see if we can help them grow their companies. And we only work with 160 clients. And I do that because I want to only work with people that are super coachable. And so this woman on the call today was asking me, she said, well, what's the most important thing that you do, that you have to do to grow your company? And I was telling her, I said, that's kind of like asking a skilled chef, what's the most important ingredient to make great cookies? Is it flour? Is it eggs? Is it butter? It's like asking a home builder, what's the most important component to building a house? Is it the footings? Is it the frame? Is it the concrete? That's like asking, it's a great question, but really it's all of it. And so I really wanted to talk to you today about all of it, implementing all of it, growing MultiClean, how we've been able to do it. So first off, could you share what it's like to have a coach that works with you every week who's committed to helping you improve your business by 1 or 2% every week?
Well, Andrew is my coach. And the great thing about having him as the coach is he keeps me accountable. Because sometimes when you're the owner, there's no one to be accountable to. And he keeps me on track. He keeps me tracking sales, tracking wins. If we have a loss, he helps me figure out what happened. He just keeps me being consistent with our processes, with our systems, which before we got involved with Thrivetime, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place.
And in terms of growth over these past 6 or 7 years, I'm not looking for you to share the actual sales totals because you're a larger company at this point. But could you share how much growth have you had over the past 6 or 7 years?
We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added. I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees, and now we have a little over 300 employees.
So just to be clear, I'm making sure I'm taking notes here. You've grown 5 times, and you've grown from how many employees to how many employees?
About 60, 65 to well over 300 in that time frame.
So let's unpack all the specific aspects of business growth. And I'm going to pull up a document so our listeners can see. What's your website we can go to right now to look at while I'm pulling up this source document? What's your web address, sir?
The website is MultiClean, just like it sounds, multicleanok.com.
multicleanok.com. Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to pull this up. And as I pulled up this source document, many people say, Clay, why do you pull up these documents? Well, contrary to popular belief, most successful people that I know use workflows, they use documents, they use checklists. We don't typically memorize things. And a lot of times people say, what? I say, yeah, as a business owner, like I'm not going to try to impress you with my memory, but I am going to teach you proven systems. And so when somebody goes to implement these business systems as a coach, we're going to guide you through all of these processes. But it is, there's a lot there to it. There's a lot of steps. It's step 1, it's step 2, it's step 3, it's step 807. It's a lot of steps here. And so as we're going through this, I don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed, but I just want people to understand it's implementing all of these systems simultaneously that produces the success. So first off, establishing your goals. I'm not trying to have you hop on today's show and share what your goals are necessarily, but let's start with step 1. Why is it important for everybody out there to figure out clearly what your goals are?
Well, Clay, it's important to have goals. Otherwise, you wouldn't really know. You wouldn't know where you're going. You wouldn't know if you reached a certain level of success unless you have a goal that you're going for. And plus, those goals, for me anyway, they keep me motivated to grow my company, to grow my employees, to better my employees, and also to make my family stronger and better as well.
So we have those goals. That's step 1. We got to have those goals. Goals for our faith, our family, our finances, our fitness, our friendship, our fun. And some of us are better in certain areas. Some of us need help in other areas, but we got to have our goals. Second, we got to determine our break-even point. And I think that's something that a lot of business owners don't know. So I'm just going to be very clear with our listeners and kind of bare my soul. But, when we work with a client like you, we charge you $1,700 a month and we make a 20% margin. So we make $340 a month per client. I know what my costs are. Kevin, you know what you pay me. It's very clear, my profit margin. Most business owners, though, when we start working with them, they don't know their break-even point. Could you share why it's important for you as an owner of a company now with 300 employees to know your break-even point?
Well, it's really important because you don't know if you're making money. And you need to know what your margins are going to be. You need to know what your cost is, so that way you can take your profit and then turn that around and pay your overhead, pay your employees, and most importantly, is to pay yourself. And because if you're not paying yourself and if you're not making an income, then the business is pretty much dead.
And again, I'm taking notes here. If it sounds like I'm typing a novel, I'm not. I'm just taking notes so everyone can really dial into this. So now, box 3, you have to know how many hours a week you're willing to work. Now, one thing about you, bragging on you, is you're willing to do whatever you need to do, but you're also super committed to your family. So again, I repeat, you're very willing to do whatever you need to do, but you're also committed to your family. So we're recording this testimonial today on a Saturday, and virtually every entrepreneur I've ever met in my life, and I don't say virtually, every entrepreneur I've ever interviewed in my life on this show, we've interviewed billionaires, multimillionaires, all of them are no stranger to working on Saturdays. Can you talk about that, about just being realistic with yourself and your family, about how many hours per week you're actually willing to work?
Well, as the owner, you have to be willing to work whatever it takes. That's whether it's 8 hours or 15 hours a day. Since we've been in business for 31 years, we have a fantastic team right now. And so my hours have cut down. So I'm actually able to spend more time with my family because I have such a fantastic team and we have fantastic processes. But as a new owner, you just have to do whatever you have to do to get it done. And eventually it will get easier. Not much easier, but it will get easier.
Now we move on to this next box. You have to know your unique value proposition. Now, as a coaching platform, what we try to do is work with wonderful clients like you to help you stand out in the clutter of commerce. And one of the things that I found out about your business very quickly is you had a long history of running your business. I mean, you weren't a startup. You had a long history of success. And so I was telling Andrew, hey, we need to document all of Kevin's testimonials. We need to gather them in one place. We need to start getting Google reviews, objective Google reviews from real clients. We need to do that because, and I'm not, this is not a backhanded compliment. You had a very good business, but you guys had not documented your client successes over the years. You didn't have video proof that you guys did a good job. You didn't have documented testimonials. You did not have objective Google reviews that matched the quality you provided. Can you talk about the importance of documenting your actual client testimonials and gathering those objective reviews?
Absolutely. That's really huge in our growth. The fact that we are the highest and most reviewed commercial cleaning service in the entire state of Oklahoma. is a very important thing. And it just shows proof of who we are when we get Google reviews. Also, when we do video testimonials, it's real people giving real testimonials. It's not super professional. It's just a real person giving a real review about how they feel about MultiClean. And it's just been a huge help to our business. When people, they get online, they look for a commercial cleaning service, and usually they go to the maps page. We're right there all the time, and usually we get picked to give someone a quote. And that's been really instrumental in the growth of MultiClean.
And again, this is not an event. This is an ongoing process. And every week we're gathering objective Google reviews, objective video reviews. And again, that's one of the ways you stand out in the clutter of commerce. The next is the branding. When a lot of times we meet a business owner, Kevin, and their website is in disrepair. Their website needs help. So I think about clients that we've had tremendous success with, brands like Shaw Homes. When we started working with Shaw Homes, by the way, Shaw Homes was just sold, but when we started working with Shaw Homes, they were around $14 million a year of sales, and we helped them to grow over 100 to over 150 million in sales. So just to be clear, we helped Shaw Homes grow from 14 million in sales to over 150 million in sales. We work with wonderful brands like OxyFresh, where OxyFresh today now has over 550 locations. And branding really is just the perception that people have when they see your company for the first time. Branding is your website, your print pieces, your logos, your business cards, your one sheets. Branding is the perception people have when they see your business for the first time. And I would encourage everybody out there to self-assess yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the worst. How highly would you rank your branding? Kevin, can you talk about the impact that's made having professional branding working for you?
Absolutely. Branding is pretty key in the commercial janitorial service, because there's a lot of startups that are very cheap and don't really offer much service. When we show up, everything that we do is professional. Our card looks good. Our proposal looks good. We have a team here that continually communicates with the customer or potential customer. And so having that brand that this is a professional company, we have a lot of respect out there amongst our competitors and amongst our clients as well, because we have that. The quality name goes with MultiClean, and that's very important in this industry.
Now, again, there's somebody out there who needs to hear this. We've been working together for years, and every week, you're growing every week we're improving the company, in my opinion, by 1 or 2%. So at the end of the year, you say, what did we do? Well, we made the company 50% better. Every week we're improving the company by 1 or 2%. Well, what are we talking about? At the end of the year, you've grown the company. At the end of the 5 years, you've grown the company. At the end of the 6 years, you look back and go, wow, we're 5 times larger. What do you say to somebody out there that's looking to get rich quick, somebody who's looking for the one thing that will turn their business around and make them rich tomorrow? What would you say?
I would say give it up on that idea, because there's no such thing as it's more like get rich slowly. That's the only way to be successful is take your time, do it right, be patient, be a man or a woman of integrity, and make good decisions for your company, and just do it right.
Now, step 4, I'm going through this methodically, folks. Step number 4, you define your unique value proposition. Got it. Okay. Step 5, you improve your branding. Step 6, you have to come up with a 3-legged marketing stool. And with your business, we have clearly defined a 3-legged marketing stool. What does that mean? A stool with 3 legs is stable. A stool with 1 leg is going to fall over. It's probably not even a stool. It's more, at that point, it's sort of a monopod. But you have to have a 3-legged marketing stool. So for your company, we have 3 things that we do, and there's some other things we do too. But one is we really, really focus on search engine optimization by gathering the most objective reviews, writing original content, gathering video testimonials. Second, Dream 100. That's where you reach out to your ideal and likely buyers consistently. You reach out to your ideal and likely buyers. And third, you're wowing your customers to the point that you're generating word of mouth. The word of mouth is becoming, you're intentional about wowing your customers, thus it creates word of mouth. Could you talk about the importance of having a 3-legged marketing stool for anybody out there that has a 1-legged marketing stool or no intentional approach to marketing at all?
Well, Clay, the nice thing about the 3-legged marketing is that we learned that from you at Thrivetime. We didn't really know what we were doing. And so when we joined up with Thrivetime, we started doing the SEO. We got our website in order, got it all cleaned up so that when people search for commercial janitorial services, they find us. Also, when they do find us, we're top in Google reviews. And then also with the Dream 100, we have a database in our Excel and HubSpot that we're continually going to and making cold calls. And the important thing about all that is that you can't just rely on one. Maybe one day one's doing well, the next day, next month, another one's doing well. So it's circular. At one point, one of them is always going to be doing well to help your company grow.
Now, once leads come in, you have to actually sell something. And this just in, if we don't sell, our business will go to hell. You know that. Most of our listeners know that too. But I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that have a bias. They think, if I have a great idea, it'll sell itself. If I build it, they will come. And they think that because they've watched Field of Dreams. They think that because they've watched too many Ty Lopez videos. They think that because they've watched Get Rich Quick videos about ClickFunnels and various other online, I call it scamockery, but it's where someone's trying to get rich quick. And I would just tell you that if you build it, they won't come. And a product is so good, it still won't sell itself. You have to get out there and work it. And so to do that, you have sales scripts, you have recorded calls for quality control, you have one sheets, you have pre-written emails, you have lead trackers, you have all of those things in place. Could you talk about the importance of having intentionally scripted calls and intentionally recorded calls and just being intentional about every aspect of your sales process?
Absolutely. We're intentional with all that with our sales scripts. We have two ladies that are inside sales and they're continually calling. They have a fantastic script that they use. The one sheet that we use, we give it and it compares us to other services. And actually that was designed by you guys at Thrivetime, which has been very helpful. And then our lead tracker, which Andrew and I go over each week, we kind of look, because I don't see all of the leads that come in, but we go over the lead tracker and I'm able to see from beginning to end when the lead came in, where it is it in the bid process right now, and did we get it or do we not get it? And if we didn't get it, that goes into another file for a follow-up call in 3 to 5 months. And if you don't have all those in some kind of a process, you're just going to lose all those potential leads.
I hope that this broadcast can change somebody's life. Now, in part 2 of today's show, I am going to do a show specifically about how if you have a great idea, it won't sell itself. And you're going to, the part 2 of the show is going to start off with Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, there's old video footage of Steve Jobs telling you, the viewer, telling me, the viewer, that, hey, a great product will not sell itself. And it's powerful when you hear from other people who are actually achieving success, who did achieve success. I encourage everybody to pay attention and take notes because we're trying to help you achieve massive success. Step number 8. You have to know how much money it costs you to acquire a new customer. You have to determine your sustainable acquisition costs. So just today, I talked to a wonderful lady today. I'm going to talk to a wonderful young man. I say a young man, a guy in his late 30s. I'm going to talk to a man in his late 30s today. I talked to a woman this morning who's super successful. And I know that whether they buy a ticket to a conference or not, or whether they become a client or not, Kevin, I know that our marketing costs to promote our conferences hover around $12,000 a month. What? Yeah. So I spend about $12,000 every month to market our business conferences. Why am I telling you that? Well, folks, do the math. If we have a conference every 2 months, so every 60 days, right? And we're spending $24,000 to promote a conference, and we're doing a conference every 60 days approximately, how much money does it cost me for every person who's in attendance? So let's just kind of do some math for a second. I want to give people some real examples. So if I'm spending $24,000 this month or over the next 2 months on promoting a conference, and we sell a total of 300 tickets, that means it's $80. It costs me $80 per customer, per conference attendee. And I'm not talking about the food we serve, Kevin. I'm not talking about the Eric Trumps, the Robert Kiyosaki's, the Tim Tebows that come in to speak. I'm not talking about any of the workbooks we give the attendees. I'm just talking about the cost to get in front of our ideal and likely buyers. It comes out to about $80 per ticket buyer. And I think if you ask the average entrepreneur, I know this because I've been doing business coaching for 20 years. The average client I talk to, the average potential client I talk to, they do not know what it costs them to get a new customer. Can you talk about that for a second? Why is it important to know how much money it costs you at MultiClean to get a new customer?
Well, Clay, it's really important because you have a sales team, you have an outside sales team, inside sales team, and you have overhead costs along with startup costs for us. We have to start up with new equipment and all kinds of equipment to do the building. The bigger the building, the bigger the startup. So it's very important to nail that down on what it costs. Sometimes I have to rein in the team and say, okay, we can't buy all this brand new, this equipment, that equipment for this account. Thankfully, most of our startup costs are recouped within the first 3 to 5 months of starting a contract with a customer. But it's very important to know that. Otherwise, you're just not. At the end of the month, you're like, where'd all my money go? So it's very important to know what that cost is.
Folks, I'm telling you, this is the kind of stuff they don't teach at business school, but they should. Okay, so here we go. The next is this has been stuff we have to do. We have to, box number 9, step number 9. We have to create repeatable systems, processes, and file organization. Now, so many people, what's interesting to me, Kevin, is so many of our listeners, they know about Dr. Z and the auto auction, or they know about me in the dog training business, or they know about me in the haircut chain, and they go, Clay, did you grow up, like, was your dad like the Zohan? Was your dad really into hair? Is that how you got going? Or they'll go, Clay, or are you and Dr. Z really into cars? Do you have like an automotive background? Or they'll say it's z66aa.com. And Dr. Z, full disclosure, just did sell that business. So it's now switching the branding over here to America's Auto Auction, okay? And by the way, the company that bought his auto auction bought it because it was successful. People look up Make Your Dog Epic. They go, did you have a dog training background? People look up Dr. Zellner and Associates. They go, is that because you guys are in love with the human eyeball? And then what happens is people are left to think, are you successful because of luck? Or have you, Clay, and Dr. Z been able to combine to build, 14 multi-million-dollar companies because you're lucky? Because of your vast knowledge of the human eyeball and hair, dogs? Or is it because you're following a proven process? And that's what I want to hammer home into everybody's cranium right now. Everybody can do this, Kevin, but you've got to follow a system. What do you say to somebody who says, I just don't know if I can do it? What would you say?
Well, I would say that before we had a relationship with Thrivetime, I don't even think I knew what a process meant or what a process was. So the coaches there have helped me put in some great processes in place to track sales, to learn about, we have a software called HubSpot that you're familiar with, Excel, and we have another software called HighRise that we use, and it tracks all of our customers day by day. And without that, we would be lost and floundering so poorly. But because of these processes in place, we're doing so well. It's all out of my brain because that's where it was before. And now it's not. Now it's in paper. It's on our server so that we can draw to it each week, and that really helps in our growth and the flow of the whole company.
And I want to greatly respect your time. So the final 5 minutes we have here, we're going to kind of crank up the speed a little bit here. But box number 9, we've created repeatable systems and processes. We've documented these things so we can improve them over time. Box number 10, we've created management systems. I mean, what people on your team will do what jobs? What? Think about it, folks. If you have a company, what are you expecting your employees to do every day? What people on your team will not do their jobs, and what jobs are people doing well? What? Think about the people on your team. What are they supposed to be doing on a daily basis? And what are they not doing on a daily basis? What are they being held accountable for? And at the end of the day, Kevin, if you don't have checklists and documented expectations and some sort of merit-based pay, nothing's going to happen. Why do you have to take the time to make the checklists and the processes and the description of what you want employees to do and have some sort of merit-based pay system in place?
Well, if it's not documented, then they won't know what to do. And also, if it's not documented, it's really difficult to rely on all the employees to just think on their own. They need some help. They need time to focus and to get things done. That goes all the way from the lady that welcomes everyone in, all the way up to our general manager, even to me. We have to have documented expectations.
This is so powerful, folks. I'm hoping you're learning something. I'm telling you, folks, this is the boring stuff that will make you rich. You see, when the average person gets bored, the great clients, they board down. What am I saying? When the average person gets bored, the most successful people, they board down. You see a skilled athlete, you see a successful entrepreneur, they have focused on mastering these systems. They have focused on mastering their craft. People like Larry Bird, the great NBA player, people like LeBron James, people like Michael Jordan, they practiced to the point that they couldn't get it wrong. You don't practice until you can get it right. You practice until you can't get it wrong. And that's why you have to document these systems. Box number 11, you have to create a sustainable schedule. You have to have a schedule. Kevin, if you're not doing the group interview, let's say every week, if you're not interviewing potential client or potential employees every week, and you're not having your weekly accountability meetings with your team, what's going to happen if you don't have a predictable, repeatable schedule in place?
Well, nothing's going to happen. That's the key. Having the group interview has been great. We just hired a salesman in our Oklahoma City office to the group interview, which was fantastic, and also in Tulsa as well. But just having those sustainable schedules in place is just great for the growth of the company.
Now, Kevin, I've got a wonderful client. I'll be very vague. They're based in Florida, and they were telling me, they said, Clay, I have a vacation coming up in California. And I said, that's great. They said, no, it's terrible. I said, why is it terrible? They said, I haven't been doing the group interview consistently, and I've kind of delegated that to somebody in my office I don't really know what they're saying. I just know that the group interview, I'm not involved in the process. And I'm just looking at my calendar, and if we go on this trip to California, we're going to have some problems. What do you say to somebody out there who's abdicating their hiring process or abdicating their sales calls? I say abdicate. They're not delegating. Delegate means to assign and then to follow up to make sure it's done correctly. Abdicate means to just say, well, someone else is handling it. What do you say to somebody out there specifically that is abdicating their hiring process, the group interview process, the process for recruiting employees?
Well, I love to be involved in all the group interviews. And usually whenever there's a group interview, there's anywhere from 4 to 12 people. And the great thing about it is that within the first 5 minutes, you know the 2 or 3 that you want to keep. And so that saves me so much time, because interviewing 12 people takes 12 hours. Interviewing 12 people in a group interview takes about an hour. And I love that. I love saving time. I love saving money like that, where I'm not having to spend all day interviewing people that may or may not even show up. And it's just great. And I highly encourage owners to get involved in the hiring process. Group interviews are very successful, and encourage you to do that.
And now, again, so many people can hear this stuff and they go, this is so overwhelming. There's so much to do. Box number 12, you want to create human resources and recruitment systems, and we have systems for that. Box number 13, you want to look at your numbers. You have to measure what you treasure. You have to measure what you treasure. And by default, you will slack where this is important. You will slack where you don't track. By default, you will slack where you don't track. And you have to measure what you treasure. I hope this is sinking in for somebody. Casualness causes casualties. I want people to think about these words. Casualness causes casualties. You have to measure what you treasure. You will slack where you do not track. These are all things we're going to teach you. Kevin, we've got to have accountability, though. And so anybody out there, I have a law firm I've used for years, wintersking.com. The reason why I pay them on a monthly basis is I want to make sure that all my filings are correct, everything's being done properly. I have an accounting firm called CCK. I've used them for years. Over 10 years, actually. And I've used them. And the reason why I pay them on a monthly basis is I want to make sure that I'm paying my taxes on time, properly, that sort of thing. Any area of our life where we want to have improvement, I would argue you need to have a coach, whether it's an accountant, whether it's a lawyer. They have different names. Sometimes they're called a lawyer. Sometimes they're called an accountant. Sometimes in fitness, so many people I know, a lot of this is true. Some of my friends are former pro athletes. And they tell me, they say, Clay, As soon as I retired from my sport, I quit working out. And I go, okay, that's fine. And they go, you know what I did this year? I said, what'd you do? They said, I hired a personal trainer. And I said, what happened? They said, now I'm back in the flow. And I think we all just we need to know three things. We need to know what to do. Two, we need someone to hold us accountable. And then we need to have someone who has the tools. Could you talk to somebody out there that's thinking about scheduling a 13-point assessment to talk to myself and our team about becoming a business coaching client?
Well, I remember when I had my first meeting with you, I thought, I have nothing to lose, absolutely nothing to lose except growth. And after that 20 to 30-minute meeting with you, I thought this is going to change the trajectory of MultiClean. And it has. And because the coaching is, they keep you accountable. And like I said earlier, sometimes it's hard to keep owners accountable because they think they know everything and we don't. So I've loved it. I've loved the coaching. I've loved having Andrew keep me accountable. And when sometimes I can't make the meeting, we have phone calls, and it's just been great. It's been good accountability. Even my wife says, no matter what, you're never leaving Thrivetime.
Now, let's say this. Somebody, you know how we live in a soundbite world. So if you could, I won't paint you too much into a corner here, but if you have 30 seconds, and somebody said, Kevin, how has the Thrivetime Show business coaching program impacted your business? Or how could it impact somebody's business? Kind of a 30-second overview or summary. How would you describe the business coaching and how it's impacted your business?
Well, it's given me my why, and it's taught me the importance of systems. It's taught me the importance of family time and the F7 goals that you impress upon me all the time. Because you can be the owner of a company and work 100 hours a week, and then you have no family. And so the Thrivetime relationship I've had now for 6-7 years has done everything to not only improve my business, but improve my life, improve my relationship with my son and my wife. And it's just been fantastic. And I highly encourage, if you're thinking about growing your business and getting out of a rut, to meet up with Clay and all the people at Thrivetime.
Final question I have here for you. I don't know that people know this because I try to keep it secret. I don't try to talk about it a lot, but this is just real. We charge people $1,700 a month. That's what we charge people. $1,700 a month. And people say, why do you charge that? Well, it's a 20% margin. And that's what we do. Now, we have some clients that we partner up with when we make a percentage of the growth. And frankly, I make a lot of my wealth by teaming up with clients and these sorts of things. But when I was building my company, djconnection.com, I remember when I met with the Yellow Page guy, he told me it was going to be $2,500 a month to buy a Yellow Page ad. I mean, this is over 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And that amount was wild, so I got a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. That was my get rich system, as I went to work. That was my life hack. I got a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. But I think everybody needs a little bit of a hand up, maybe not a hand out, but a hand up. And that's why we make the packages affordable at $1,700 a month, 1700. It's less money than it costs to hire a minimum wage employee. Also, it is month to month, although most of our clients are with us for basically until they sell the company. Our average client is with us for over 6 years. But we do have scholarships. We work with a couple clients a month where if they need help financially, we work with them at a discount. What do you say to somebody who's thinking about coming to our next workshop with Eric Trump or Robert Kiyosaki or Tim Tebow or whatever workshop we have coming up? What do you say to somebody who's on the fence right now? They're going, I'm thinking about scheduling a 13-point assessment. I'm thinking about buying a ticket for an in-person workshop. Kevin, what do you say to them?
I would say do both. I've probably been to in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new. And I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement, how to help you guys implement the SEO. And the coaching is just great because there's accountability. And it's just a fantastic way to grow your company. Having a relationship with Thrivetime it's just been amazing for MultiClean.
I don't know that we talked about it, but we do the photography, video, web, search engine, online ads from a peace of mind perspective, what does that do for you as an owner, knowing that, hey, it's a flat rate I'm paying, and I have a team that handles all of that for me, the graphic design, the photography, the search engine, the web development, the strategy. What does that do for you?
Oh my goodness, it frees me up, because then I don't have to take a class on search engine optimization or learn marketing or shoot video. That's not what we do. What we do is commercial janitorial service. And you guys are the experts on marketing, and you teach me and hold my hand and show me how to do it right. And therefore, now my company is much, much larger.
Kevin, I really do appreciate your time. For anybody in the Oklahoma area, anybody in Kansas, I believe you said Kansas, Oklahoma. What other states are you in now, Kevin?
We're in Oklahoma and southern Kansas, and this in 2025. We are looking to open an office in Northwest Arkansas.
I encourage everybody out there, check out the website right now. I'll pull it up one more time, folks. That website is multicleanok.com. That's multicleanok.com. If you're looking for a commercial cleaning service that you can trust, go to multicleanok.com. Kevin, thank you so much for your time, sir, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Clay.
Bye-bye.
One of the things that really hurt Apple was after I left, John Sculley got a very serious disease. And that disease, I've seen other people get it too. It's the disease of thinking that a really great idea is 90% of the work. And that if you just tell all these other people, here's this great idea, then of course they can go off and make it happen. And the problem with that is that there's just a tremendous amount of craftsmanship in between a great idea and a great product.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Okay, Aaron Antis, March 6th and 7th. March 6th and 7th, guess who's coming to Tulsa, Jerusalem?
Ooh, Santa Claus?
No, that's March 6th and 7th.
Oh.
We're going to be joined by Robert Kiyosaki. Best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Probably the best-selling, or one of the best-selling business authors of all time. And he's going to be joined with Eric Trump. He'll be joined by Eric Trump. So we got Eric Trump and Robert Kiyosaki in the same place. Aaron, why should everybody show up to hear Robert Kiyosaki?
Well, you got billions of dollars of business experience between those two, not to mention many, many, many millions of books have been sold. Many, many millionaires have been made from the books that have been sold by Robert Kiyosaki. I happen to be one of them. I learned from the man. He was the inspiration. That book was the inspiration for me to get the entrepreneurial spirit, as many other people.
Now, since you won't brag on yourself, I will. You've sold billions of dollars of houses, am I correct?
That is true.
And the book that kickstarted it all for you,
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the author, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, the guy that kickstarted your career.
Yeah.
He's going to be here.
I'm pumped.
And now Eric Trump, people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. There's not 50 employees. The Trump organization, again, most people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. And while Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of these United States and soon to be the 47th president of these United States, he needed someone to run the companies for him. And so the man that runs the Trump organization for Donald J. Trump, as he was the 45th president of the United States and now the 47th president of the United States, is Eric Trump. And so Eric Trump is here to talk about time management, promoting from within, marketing, branding, quality control, sales systems, workflow design, workflow mapping, how to build. I mean, everything that you see, the Trump hotels, the Trump golf courses, all their products, the man who manages billions of dollars of real estate and thousands of employees is here to teach us how to do it.
You are talking about one of the greatest brands on the planet from a business standpoint. Right. I mean, who else has been able to create a brand like the Trump brand? I mean, look at it. And this is the man behind the business for the last, pretty much since 2015. he's been the man behind it. So you're talking, we're into 9 going into 10 years of him running it, and we get to tap into that knowledge. That's going to be amazing.
Now, think about this for a second. Would you buy a ticket just to see Robert Kiyosaki and Eric Trump? Of course you would.
Of course you would.
But we're also going to be joined by Sean Baker. This is the best-selling author, the guy who invented the carnivore diet.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Sean Baker. He's been on Joe Rogan multiple times. He's going to be joining us. So you've got Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Eric Trump, Sean Baker. The lineup continues to grow, and this is how we do our tickets here at the Thrivetime Show. If you want to get a VIP ticket, you can absolutely do it. It's $500 for a VIP ticket. We've always done it that way. Now, if you want to take a general admission ticket, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And the reason why I do that, and the reason why we do that is because we want to make our events affordable for everybody. I grew up without money. I totally understand what it's like to be in a tight spot. So if you want to attend, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. That's how I do it. And it's $500 for a VIP ticket. Now, we only have limited seating here. With the most people we've ever had in this building was for the Jim Brewer presentation. Jim Brewer came here, the legendary comedian Jim Brewer came to Tulsa, and we had 419 people that were here. 419 people.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, there's no more room. I felt kind of bad that if a couple people had VIP seats in the men's restroom. No, I'm just kidding. But I thought, you know what, we should probably add on. So we're adding on what we call the upper deck, or the top shelf. So the seats are very close to the presenters, but we're actually building right now. We're adding on to the facility to make room to accommodate about another 30 attendees or more. So again, if you want to get tickets for this event, all you have to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. When you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you'll go there, you'll request a ticket, boom. Or if you want to text me, if you want a little bit faster service, you say, I want you to call me right now. Just text my number. It's my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number. We'll keep that private between you, me, everybody. We'll keep that private. In anybody. Don't share that with anybody except for everybody. That's my private cell phone number. It's 918-851-0102. 918-851-0102. I know we have a lot of Spanish-speaking people that attend these conferences, and so to be bilingually sensitive, my cell phone number is 918-851-0102.
That is not actually bilingual. That's just saying Juan for a one. It's not the same thing.
I think you're attacking me. Now, let's talk about this. Now, what kind of stuff will you learn at the Thrivetime Show workshop? So, Aaron, you've been to many of these over the past 7-8 years. So let's talk about it. I'll tee up the thing, and then you tell me what you're going to learn here, okay?
Okay.
You're going to learn marketing and branding. What are we going to learn about marketing and branding?
Oh, yeah. We're going to dive into, so many people say, I got to get my brand known out there, like the Trump brand, right? You want to get that brand out there. It's like, how do I actually make people know what my business is and make it a household name? You're going to learn some intricacies of how you can do that.
You're going to learn sales. So many people struggle to sell something. This just in, your business will go to hell if you can't sell. So we're going to teach you sales. We're going to teach you search engine optimization, how to come up top in the search engine results. We're going to teach you how to manage people. Aaron, you have managed, no exaggeration, hundreds of people throughout your career and thousands of contractors. And most people struggle with managing people. Why does everybody have to learn how to manage people?
Well, because first of all, you either have great people or you have people who suck. And so it can be a challenge, learning how to work with a large group of people and get everybody pulling in the same direction can be a challenge. But if you have the right systems, you have the right processes, and you're really good at selecting great ones, and we have a process we teach about how to find great people. When you start with the people who have a great attitude, they're teachable, they're driven, all of those things, then, you can get those people all pulling in the same direction.
So we're going to teach you branding, marketing, sales, search engine optimization. We're going to teach you accounting. We're going to teach you personal finance, how to manage your finance. We're going to teach you time management. How do you manage your time? How do you get more done during a typical day? How do you build an organization if you're not organized? How do you do organization? How do you build an org chart? Everything that you need to know to start and grow a business will be taught during this 2-day interactive business workshop. Now, let me tell you how the format is set up here. And again, folks, this is a 2-day interactive 15. Think about this, folks. It's 2 days. Each day it starts at 7 a.m. and it goes until 5 p.m. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. The way we do it is we do a 30-minute teaching session, and then we break for 15 minutes for a question and answer session. So, Aaron, what kind of great stuff happens during that 15-minute question and answer session after every teaching session?
I actually think it's the best part about the workshops, because here's what happens. I've been to lots of these things over the years. I've paid many thousands of dollars to go to them. And you go in there and they talk in vague generalities, and they're constantly upselling you for something, trying to get you to buy this thing or that thing or this program or this membership. And you leave not getting your very specific questions answered about your business or your employees or what you're doing on your marketing. And what's awesome about this is we literally answer every single question that any person asks, and it's very specific to what your business is.
And what we do is we allow you as the attendee to write your questions on the whiteboard.
Yep.
And then we literally, as you mentioned, we answer every single question on the whiteboard. And then we take a 15-minute break to stretch and to make it entertaining when you're stretching. This is a true story. When you get up and stretch, you'll be greeted by mariachis.
Sure.
There's going to probably be alpaca here, llamas, helicopter rides, a coffee bar, a snow cone. There's just...
You had a crocodile one time. That was pretty interesting.
You know, I should write that down and actually do that.
Sorry for that one guy that we lost.
The crocodile, we duct taped its face so that we duct taped.
No, it was a baby crocodile.
And it was duct tape.
Yeah, duct tape around the mouth so it didn't bite anybody. But it was really cool passing that thing around and petting
I should do that. We have a small petting zoo that will be assembled. It's going to be great. And then you're in the company of hundreds of entrepreneurs. So there's not a lot of people in America today. In fact, there's less than 10 million people today, according to U.S. Debt Clock, that identify as being self-employed. So if you have a country with 350 million people, that means you have less than 3% of our population that's even self-employed. Yeah. So you only have 3 out of every 100 people in America that are self-employed to begin with. And when Inc. magazine reports that 96% of businesses fail by default, you have a 1 out of 1,000 chance of succeeding in the game of business. But yet the average client that you and I work with, we can typically double this. And this is no hyperbole, no exaggeration. And I have thousands of testimonials to back this up. We have thousands of testimonials to back it up. But when you work with a home builder, when I work with a business owner, we can typically double the size of the company within 24 months.
Yeah.
Double. And you say double? Yeah, there's businesses that we have tripled. There's businesses we've grown 8x. There's so many examples you can see at thrivetimeshow.com. But again, this is the most interactive, best business workshop on the planet. This is objectively the highest rated and most reviewed business workshop on the planet. And then you add to that Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You add to that Eric Trump, the man that runs the Trump Organization. You add to that Sean Baker. Now you might say, but Clay, is there more? I need more. Well, okay, Tom Wheelwright is the wealth strategist for Robert Kiyosaki. So people say, Robert Kiyosaki, who's his financial wealth advisor? Who's the guy who manages, who's his wealth strategist? His wealth strategist, Tom Wheelwright, will be here. And you say, Clay, I'm not going to get a ticket unless you give me more. Okay, fine. We're going to serve you the same meal both days. True story. We cater in the food, and because I keep it simple, I literally bring in the same food both days for lunch. It's Ted Escondido's, an incredible Mexican restaurant. That's going to happen. And Jill Donovan, our good friend, who is the founder of Rustic Cuff. She started that company in her home, and now she sells millions of dollars of apparel and products. That's rusticcuff.com. And someone says, I want more. This is not enough.
Give me more.
Okay. I'm not going to mention their names right now because I'm working on it behind the scenes here. But we've got one guy who's given me a verbal to be here. And this is a guy who's one of the wealthiest people in Oklahoma, and nobody really knows who he is because he's built systems that are very utilitarian, that offer a lot of value. He's made a lot of money in it's where you rent. It's short term. It's where you're renting storage spaces. He's a storage space guy. He owns what do you call that? The rental,
storage space.
Storage units. This guy owns storage units. He owns railroad cars. He owns a lot of assets that make money on a daily basis, but they're not like customer facing. Most people don't know who owns the mini storage facility, or most people don't know who owns the warehouse that's passively making money. Most people don't know who owns the railroad cars, but this guy, he's given me a verbal that he will be here, and we just continue to add more and more success stories. So if you're out there today and you want to change your life, you want to give yourself an incredible gift, You want a life-changing experience. You want to learn how to start and grow a company. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go there right now. thrivetimeshow.com. Request a ticket for the 2-day interactive event. Again, the day here is March 6th and 7th. March 6th and 7th, we just got confirmation. Robert Kiyosaki, best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He'll be here. Eric Trump, the man who leads the Trump organization. It's going to be a blasty blast. There's no upsells. Aaron, I could not be more excited about this event.
I think it is incredible. And there's somebody out there right now, you're watching and you're like, but I already signed up for this incredible other program called Smoke Your Way to Thin. I think that's going to change your life. I promise you, this will be 10 times better than that.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Don't do the Smoke Your Way to Thin conference. That is, I've tried it. Don't do it.
Yeah, chain smoking is not a viable. I mean, it is life-changing. It is life-changing. If you become a chain smoker, it is life-changing.
Not the best weight loss program, though.
Right, really. So if you're looking to have life-changing results in a way that won't cause you to have a stoma, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's Aaron Antis. I'm Clay Clark, and reminding you and inviting you to come out to the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I promise you, it will be a life-changing experience. We can't wait to see you right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.